So this is an optimistic one, optimistic but realistic. So a lot of people sort of say, "Oh, why aren't more people waking up?" And my simple answer to that would be self-interest. But I don't think that self-interest is going to continue to work in the same direction as Klaus Schwab wants it, in a direction of his Great Reset. I think a growing number of people are going to turn against it because it starts to go against their self-interest. So, I don't know, some of you might know this, some of you might not. I'm living in Finland, but I'm a Brit. And before I moved here in November 2020, I lived in the UK, and I taught at a fairly posh private boarding school in Surrey. So for like 15 years or so. And during that time, I came across, obviously, many of the British middle class. They might consider themselves to be something a little bit more than that, but most of them works for a living. And the way that I would define it is that somebody who's upper class, those are people that don't need to work for a living because they've got assets, and those assets generate their income. They don't need to sell their labour to earn an income in the form of a wage. Anyway, these people, as I say, I observed them up close. Many of them might have been working in the City of London as magic circle lawyers or bankers, or or maybe middle class, solid, very, very solid middle class professions, like, I don't know, being a hospital consultant, GP, something like that. And what I would say about those people, apart from the kind of humorous stuff, which is, they all wear they're absolutely obsessed with their own sort of social class. And, they wear almost like a uniform so that other people around them can see that they're also, middle class too, or they would consider it upper class, but really they're middle class. With the red trousers for the blokes, the women with the dyed blonde hair driving the 4x4s. They're very, very sort of conformist. And what they do above all else is that they're obedient sort of rule followers, and they want to sort of hug the consensus, whatever that consensus might happen to be. That's a machine clearing the road, I think, of snow. We've had a load of snow here again. Anyway, so these people very, very into virtue signalling. So for example, at Blackheath Cricket Club, which is just south of Guildford, I remember seeing that they had a Ukraine flag up, on the, rather than having the club's flag, they had a Ukraine flag. And that just kind of sums up these people. Very, very into virtue signalling, very into trying to signify their status and social class membership to other people. So they care deeply about what other people think about them. Yeah. Now, the other thing that I would say about these people is, from observing them close up, is that they're really hard-nosed. So they're extremely driven, and I'll just say it as it is. I perceive them to be pretty hard-nosed and selfish. So I know various tradespeople through playing for another cricket club, and they would always get a load of grief off these people. They would ask them to do more than what was agreed, and then when it came to pay, Sebastian wouldn't pay them. It'd be like trying to get blood out of a stone. So they were like very, very hard-nosed, brutal people. Behind all of the kind of smiles and the red trousers and all the rest of it, and the 4x4s and the blonde. These people are hard-nosed. So. I know I'm going a bit around the houses here, but forgive me. So during the early days of the Coviet Union, the cough and sniffle, these guys really actively bought into it. And the reason for that was it kind of tallied with their own self-interest. So a lot of them work up in London. So for them, they hate their commute. I know there was this person that I work with, and her husband, I think he was some sort of low grade accountant or something, but he was commuting from Hazelmere, like practically 2 hours there on the train every day, 2 hours back, and the train's packed and awful, awful, awful. Imagine having to do that for 4 hours a day and do your job as well. So of course, when the cough and sniffle came along and people were told to stay at home to save lives, these people didn't. It wasn't a hard sell for Boris Johnson or Klaus or whatever, to convince these people that it was a good idea for them to work at home. They enthusiastically bought into it. Similarly, I know people who got furlough and they were over the moon about that. So what I'm saying is that the first phase of the great Klaus's, great reset, his fourth industrial Reich, it was a very, very easy sell for much of the British upper class. They got to work from home or they got furlough, and in return for that, all they had to do was to wear their underpants on their face and go to the concert. And I guess also as well, because they're into their virtue signalling, they really got off on, I'm going to the concert to save your grandma. And, they were posting all about it on mostly it would be for them, Bookface, Facebook, whatever you want to call it. So what I'm saying again is that the first phase of what these Klaus Schwab wants to bring in, it was a breeze. And it was a breeze because it was working with these people's self-interest. They wanted to do it. They thought, yeah, I get to work at home and I only have to wear, a slave muzzle. Yeah, I'm up for that. That's a fair trade. I'm going to go with that. Where, go to the Britney Spears. Of course, these people are a bit thick, so they're overly trusting of authority. That's what they've based their careers on, which is basically looking up to the next layer above them in the hierarchy and then just like, yes, sir, no, sir, 3 bags full, sir. So these people were very, very happy with going along with the kind of Coviet takeover in the first phase. This is the optimism. I think that these people are going to turn, and these are what I call the new Coviet rebels. These are the people that are going to be rebelling against the Coviet Union and Klaus's Great Reset. These people are going to, like, mysteriously, they're going to become like the rest of us. They're going to realise that the government isn't their best mates. Why? Reasons of self-interest. These people are selfish. They're hard-nosed. When they realise that they're no longer on the right side of things, these people will flip just like that. No problem at all. So it's going to be a lot harder for Klaus to sell the next stage of his reset to the Red Trouser Brigade from Surrey. Why? Well, let's dig into it. First of all, they know people who have been badly damaged by going to the Britney Spears and the Boosters concerts. So they'll probably, well, I'm sure, I've met some of them, that they're feeling a bit bad about it. They're feeling worried about it. They're feeling as though that they were mugged off, like cost they were. And I think also this is the other really, really important point, is that the next step of Klaus's reset involves them making sacrifices, So what we're talking about here is, the so-called zero carbon agenda. So, when these people are asked, or told rather, that they're not going to be able to drive their cars anymore, talking about these 15-minute cities, or their petrol's going to be rationed electronically via central bank digital currencies, or they've got to make a choice between whether they're going to go on holiday, go to Tuscany, to their villa. Oh, what? They're going to stop me to going to Tuscany in my villa? Yeah, I own the villa, I own my 4x4. How dare they say that? So these people will start to rebel against it, because for the first time, their standard of living is going to be compromised by the Great Reset, the Fourth Industrial Revolution, whatever you say, whatever you're going to call it, then they'll also be affected by crime and social unrest, and they'll want an end to it. They've got big houses to heat. It will be affecting them too. They won't be able to afford their little luxuries, like a couple of bottles of wine a night, for at 30 quid a bottle. So these people, I expect, to rebel against the Coviet Union because they're selfish, they're hard-nosed, and they'll pursue self-interest, and they'll know which side their bread's buttered on, and it won't be with Klaus Schwab. So they'll join us, and that's what I'm expecting, because the next phase of the crisis involves zero carbon, and it involves them having to make sacrifices, and that's when you'll see them turn. So that's all I want to say. So God bless you.